curious about the relationship between composer, conductor of the music, and the dancers, because usually when there's live accompaniment, the conductor can see what's happening on stage, and obviously that wasn't needed for this choreography. So I'm just curious to know more about that choice.
So I think for both of us it was kind of really hard because I had to learn his language when speaking music and he had to learn my language when speaking dance, right? So I'd say something like motif and he's like, I don't know what a motif is. So that was a struggle, but we had to work through that. And I think the best thing for me was to give him, okay, this is maybe the amount of counts that my dancers are going to do, but if it's not exact, that's okay, because sometimes movement needs to be without the music completely, if that makes sense. It doesn't need to be aligned all the time.
It was, I guess, a certain element that was interesting to me about this project was that because I didn't know exactly what the specific counts to the dance were when I was writing the music, and I didn't feel like I needed to know the specific counts, it kind of created two somewhat independent projects that then also correlated well together. There were certain moments where, as a conductor, I needed to look back and make sure that I was, cueing the musicians in approximately the right place. But generally, it wasn't necessarily needed that the music line up exactly with the dance in this case.
So when I read the abstract, I was very curious because you're exploring linear and non-linear, just basically not. In my mind, it's circular. I've heard it termed that. I don't know if that's technically correct or not, but anyways, this linear and non-linear time into time-based art forms. So that's really interesting. I was really curious how you explore non-linear time in music, what that means, and then I was kind of curious in the movement how you balanced the linear and the non-linear as far as exploration.
Well, if you noticed, especially in the very beginning of my piece with the flute solo, I didn't conduct that at all. It was all, non-metered. I basically just cued the flute player, and she did her thing, and it was kind of the same with the solo dancer. She was moving independently at her own pace, a very slow pace, and that was juxtaposed with later on in the piece the very strict time versus the faster dancers that got really hectic.
I know for me, sometimes it helps to have a story kind of with it, and my side class, I'm taking personality and I took culture and gender, and we talked a lot about nonlinear and linear, and it's so fascinating because you see people with nonlinear time, and they Muslims, for example, they play with their prayer beads, and they will do that all day. There's no restrictions. And so when I did my dance, for my faster paced dancers, I always thought about throughout the day, I don't know if you guys feel this, but I get anxious, and so sometimes when I go home, I play with my feet, and so I had every dancer in the faster tempo come up with an anxious habit that they do because time creates it. And then for my nonlinear dancer, it was nice because she can just go into the moment and not have to worry about anything. And I kind of wanted to see what would happen if she fell into that. Would she be happy? Would she not? And then I wanted other people to realize, is my time correct, or could I be a little different?
Compositionally, it was the one dancer versus the rest of the group. So what was the choice behind, the non-linearity having a very minor role in terms of the representation of those two ideas?
Oh, I think that's easy. So a lot of what I've been learning is that linear, we just think it's a universal concept. When other people from different cultures come, we think that, okay, they should be on time. There should be no concept, they should know better. but hosting other dancers in the past. Like we had some Georgians, and it was interesting because we were always like, they're on Georgian time, like they're 10 minutes late. But to them, that was culture. You know, you come when you're ready, you leave when you're ready to go. And so I just thought like it's an easy thing to put her in a minor role because that's how we see that in society.
All right, thank you.